The kind of astonishing thing about the story of the man born blind is that when the religious leaders of Jesus' day see this guy, the first thing in their mind is, who sinned, this man or his parents? They see this guy in need, who has always been in need, and they immediately think, who's to blame? Whose fault is it? Who sinned? Jesus, on the other hand, sees this guy who is born blind, and he sees someone that needs healing. Those two different ways of seeing this man in this situation could not be more stark. This story raises an issue, a classic theological issue called theodicy. Theodicy is one of the oldest questions we humans have asked. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why, if there is a God who is all-powerful and a God who is all good, why does the universe not seem fair? Great question. And those questions have been asked since the book of Job was written. And while it's a great question, there isn't a great answer, except in the book of Job, in the teachings of Jesus. It's just not how the world works. It's not, as Jesus says, the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. Sometimes when things happen to us, it is our fault. And it's because we did something really that we shouldn't have done. Why this happened? Well, it's because I didn't do this, because I did do this. Sometimes things happen and they're no one's fault. They just are. Someone's born blind. It's no one's fault. A tsunami hits an island. It's no one's fault. A pandemic hits the world. It's no one's fault. But notice the two differences here of how to approach the situation. Looking for fault, looking for blame, and seeing an opportunity for healing. The other thing I notice in this passage is how Jesus heals. You may notice that every time that Jesus heals in the Gospels, he does it differently. Sometimes he'll go and he'll touch somebody. Sometimes he'll say some words to them. Sometimes they'll come and touch him. Sometimes he'll heal somebody who's at a great distance away. Here, Jesus heals by digging up some dirt and spitting in it and making a paste. Part of, I think, why Jesus does this, he heals differently every time, is because he wants to show us that there's not just a formula. It's not, well, you say this word and you do this action and then someone gets healed. That every instance of illness and pain is different and needs to be seen as different. But in this instance, when he heals the man born blind, I'm reminded of him digging in the earth. It reminds me of God digging in the earth of Eden and forming us into his image and breathing his breath into us. God, Jesus, dig into the earth. They get down on their hands and knees. They get dirt on their knees. They get dirt under their fingernails. Astonishing. The creator of the universe, the one who set the sun and the moon and the stars and their courses in the heavens, digs in the earth. God, Jesus, do not just sit a million miles away on some throne completely divorced from our reality. God is right in the fray with us. He was right in the fray with the man born blind, and he's in our current fray too. Where is God right now? He's at the doctor's offices and the ERs and the emergent care centers as people are coming in sick, worrying that they have the coronavirus. He's in the hospitals and the ICUs where people are working around the clock trying to find ventilators and keep people alive. He's there in the parking decks and the basketball courts that are being turned into makeshift hospitals. He's there with the scientists and the chemists and the biologists that are trying to find treatment and try and find vaccine. He's with the parents who are trying to work at home and homeschool their kid at the same time. He's with the people who lost their jobs this week and the people who are going to stand in the line of the food bank tomorrow. He's right with the people who this time is flaring up their depression. He's right there with the people who in this time are seeing their anxiety flare up. He's right with us. And I find that incredibly comforting, right? It's incredibly comforting that God is with us. But when God does something, God doesn't just do it. He does it so that we will then do it. God forgives us to remind us to forgive others. God has compassion on us to show us how to have compassion on others. God gives us grace that we might have give grace to others. God is in the fray, in the muck, in the dirt with us to tell us to go and do the same. And we're going to have to find some new ways and different ways to be in the dirt and in the middle of it. And I think some of it is just going to have to be like on the telephone, calling people who are scared, who are worried, who need groceries, who need prescriptions, just listening to people as they vent their depressions and their anxiety, being there for people who are worried about their kids making their way home during this crisis. It's going to mean, picking up a ham and dropping it off at church to get it to the food bank. It's going to be these little things. But these little things are going to mean so much. And they're going to mean so much to the people that they're done for. And sometimes they're going to mean so much to us because we're the ones that they're being done for. And it's going to mean so much to God. We are Christ's body. We are his hands and his feet in this world. And where is Christ when there is a crisis? Right there in the midst of it. And so where are his hands and feet going to be? Right there in the midst of it too. It's our great comfort that God never leaves us. And it's our great challenge that we are never to leave those